I'm having my weekly sync up meeting with my assistant, and I'm looking for something to give her notes from a meeting that I had that she needed so she could turn them into an action plan and start following through. She gets up, walks over to my desk, and she sees this little stack of papers there. It wasn't a big stack, maybe like three small pages, the kind that come from those 4x6 notepads. She said, "Oh, are these the ones you're talking about?" And I was like, no, I don't think so." Then I got up, I went to my desk and opened my desk drawer, thinking maybe they were in there. I pulled out a few more pages. They had different dates on them. So I started flipping through them, trying to figure out which was which. And then it hit me. Wait, I think I saw those notes in my bag. So I opened my work bag and there they are. And there are also a few more papers than what I remembered being in there. By the end of it, she and I are standing there with close to 20 pieces of paper, Post-its, notepad sheets, scraps of paper. Some of these were from like meetings that had action items that were from a month ago that were now totally irrelevant. One was a grocery list. Some were half written ideas that didn't even ring any bells as I continued to read and reread them. One was home related stuff that somehow made its way into my work pile. I handed her a sheet that I thought was from the meeting we were talking about, and she looks at it and says, I think this is like budget notes. I took another look at it and was like, Yup, that is definitely not the one that we need. It was such a mess. It was a whole mess of tiny, disconnected pages. And I remember standing there, kind of shaking my head and laughing at myself and realizing I didn't even know I had this many little pieces of paper floating around. I like to think that I do a pretty good job of keeping things together, like all of it in one spot. That didn't seem to be the case. And here's the thing, I have a system for this. I teach it, I use it, and it works. But sometimes life speeds up and little slips start to pile up. And the more I looked at that stack, the more it felt like a picture of my own brain. Just scattered pieces everywhere, none of them living in one place. My brain has been trying to hold it all together, but has been doing it in fragments. No wonder I had been feeling so scattered and stressed lately. And so, right then, I realized that's what this was. This is not failure. This is just my brain living exactly like my desk and work bag. Pieces everywhere, trying to connect dots that were never in the same pile to begin with. If you have ever found yourself with more scraps of paper than you care to admit in your purse, your car, your desk, or on your kitchen counter, if you've got sticky notes, screenshots, trying to hold your life together, this week's do over is for you.
You're managing what you always do, but your brain feels scattered and you just can't seem to pull it together. The Busy Brain Do-Over from Steady State Co. is your space to recover, reset, and restart, proud of how you show up again. Because you're not the problem, and you're not alone. Here, you'll find real tools and honest conversations to help you feel capable, steady, and like yourself again. Here's your host, Candace David, a fellow busy brain who believes life doesn't have to run perfectly to run well.
Here's what I know. When lists start multiplying, sticky notes on the counter, screenshots on your phone, random pieces of paper in your bag, it's not because you're lazy or unproductive. It's because your brain is trying to feel safe. Every new list feels like a little bit of control. One more way to hold on to things, all the things that you don't want to forget. But the truth is, every time we start a new list, we split our attention a little more. It's like opening a dozen browser tabs and wondering why your laptop is running slow. I do that all of the time. Now, don't get me wrong, writing things down is still one of the smartest things you can do when you're overwhelmed. I stand by that. In fact, last week's do over was all about that, naming what's loud so your brain can quiet down. But here's the catch: what starts as a healthy brain dump can easily turn into a pile of partial systems if we don't give those notes a home. Every new list feels like relief for a second. That, ah, I wrote it down moment, followed by that creeping, wait, what list was that on? The goal isn't to stop writing things down, it's to give those thoughts a single, steady home where they can land and stay. Because the more scattered your lists are, the more scattered you feel. And when you bring them together, just one list, one source of truth, your brain finally exhales. That's what this week's do over is all about: getting back to one clear system that's simple enough to stick and strong enough to hold it all. Hi, my busy brain friends. Before we keep going, hit that follow button so your next do over finds you right when you need it. If you've already subscribed, thank you, and consider this your high five for being ahead of the game. You never know when the next episode's going to be the one that gives you that deep exhale you've been craving. So, how do we do that? How do we actually reset when your tasks are scattered across notebooks, sticky notes, screenshots, and a few random scraps of paper you found at the bottom of your bag? We use the one list do over, a simple 3-step reset that isn't about getting perfectly organized, because we know that that doesn't exist, but is about getting your brain to trust one place again. Step one: pick your home. Choose one place that's going to hold it all. It might be your notebook or your planner or a digital list of some kind, like a notes app on your phone. It doesn't matter where, it matters that you decide. When your brain knows where things go, it finally stops spinning, trying to remember where they are. Step two: consolidate. Pull together every list, sticky note, and random reminder. You can do this all at once if you're focused and if it doesn't overwhelm you, or little by little over the next few days. As you find your lists, your screenshots, all the things, transfer that information to the home that you chose in step one. Now, don't overthink this. If it still matters, what's on the paper or in the screenshot, then move it to your one list. If it doesn't, toss it. The goal isn't to finish everything on the list, or really anything. It's to find everything again. Step three: return. Anytime you catch yourself writing on a random piece of paper or typing a note somewhere else, pause, stop yourself, and redirect. Say out loud, nope, I already have a home for this, and this is not it. Because the real power of one list isn't the tool, it's the trust you build with yourself when you know exactly where to look. Here's your permission slip for this week. You don't need a fancy planner or an impressive app to feel organized. A one list doesn't sound glamorous, and that's the point. The power isn't in the system itself. It's in the trust you build with your brain when it knows exactly where things belong. For some of you, this is a homecoming, getting back to the system that used to serve you. For others, this is the start of something brand new, a calm, steady rhythm your brain can finally believe in. Either way, know that you are not behind. You're rebuilding trust. So this week, give yourself permission to keep it simple. Find your one list, the place your thoughts, tasks, and reminders can finally rest. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be yours. That's what a do over really is. Not a fresh start, but a faithful return to something that works. Before you go, if you've been listening today and thinking, okay, but why does my brain even work like this? Like, why do I have so many notes on so many different things? I've got something for you. I created a short quiz called Which Type of Busy Brain Am I? It's quick, it's fun, and it'll help you figure out which busy brain type fits you best. Whether you're the looks put together woman, the functioning on empty woman, or the overloaded achiever. You'll get your results right away, along with a few practical tips for how to work with your brain instead of against it. Go to mybusybrain.com/quiz to take it now. It only takes a few minutes, and it will help you understand why certain systems, routines, or habits finally start to stick once you stop trying to organize like everyone else. Again, that's mybusybrain.com/quiz. Go find out what kind of busy brain you've got, and let's start making it work for you. All right, my fellow busy brain friends, take a breath, give yourself a little grace, and remember, you can always start again. That's what a do-over really is. Not perfection, just permission. Talk soon.